Will this be your first time coming to Atlantic City?
It will be, actually. I've never even been to Atlantic City, either to play or whatever for any other reason.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
It'll be interesting then for you. So tell me about, your approach to bluegrass. Do you consider yourselves traditionalists, or you're trying to reinterpret things a little bit? What's your take on it?
Well, we're kind of a unique band, I think, in that regard. We definitely came into bluegrass, and from non-traditional ways, but quickly as we were learning to play and becoming a band, we became a really traditional bluegrass band. And it's our upright bass. We don't use drums or electric instruments or things like that. But we've always written our own songs, and played our own music, recorded our own music. So we've always kind of had our own sound. We don't really play a lot of the old standard bluegrass songs per se. I mean, we surely know how to play them, and we have played them in jams and kind of cut our teeth on the traditional stuff, learning how to play. But that's not what we perform, because we realized early on that we needed to have our own identity to be successful, and be our own band. And so yeah, I would say we are a traditional, bluegrass band in that our instrumentation, our approach to it's pretty traditional, but I don't think our songwriting is necessarily traditional. And, we certainly don't sound like old-timey bluegrass or anything like that. But I wouldn't say we sound, like some major progressive band either. We're not trying to redefine the music or anything like that either. We're just trying to, kind of do it our own way, sort of have our own style.
I think you came to bluegrass in college, and so do you think you bring some other influences then to your playing at all? I mean, even though you're still sort of fairly traditional, I mean, do you think were you listening to rock before that, or what music did you like?
Classical music and jazz, reggae, all of us kind of listened to a lot of different kinds of music. I had played different kinds of music growing up, and none of us in the band got into really listening to or playing bluegrass until we got to college. So I think that makes for, the unique sound we have. And like you said, there's those other influences, from listening to other kinds of music and playing other kinds of music that certainly, creeped into our songwriting and the way we arrange songs, maybe. Not necessarily always, verse, chorus, solo, verse, chorus, solo, like a lot of bluegrass songs are. So yeah, I think that's definitely contributed to it.
You play the mandolin, and I think you had played the saxophone before that. So how did you discover the mandolin, and what do you like about playing that?
I discovered the mandolin actually because I hadn't listened to bluegrass very much at all growing up, and then when I got to college, some friends of mine that played banjo and fiddle were from Kentucky, and I was really interested in what they were doing, and they gave me some recordings to listen to, some great bluegrass records, some of the best bluegrass records ever made, in fact. And as I was listening to it, the mandolin just appealed to me for some reason. That I think one of the things I liked about it was the ability to do long notes, like with the tremolo, the sustained notes. The banjo kind of rolls through, and the guitar, it's like a lot of quick notes. The flat picking style, it's a lot of quick notes. There's not a lot of long sustained notes, but the mandolin, just like the fiddle, you can hold these long notes. Well, I was kind of familiar with the pick, so I knew I didn't want to play the fiddle, and I kind of liked the fact that the mandolin, you picked it like a guitar, but you could play these long sustained notes like the saxophone, which I love, to do like long whole notes and things like that. And I liked what it did rhythmically. The mandolin and working with the bass sort of makes the drums kind of sound of bluegrass, the percussiveness of bluegrass, and I liked that role, and it just really stood out to me as the instrument I wanted to learn.
And I wanted to pick up on something you said before about writing your own material instead of what's the process like? Are you guys collaborating together? Does one person start a song and then you bring it to the group, or how do you do that?
Well, Graham and Charles, our banjo player and our bass player, are our primary songwriters in the band, and they kind of come up with something, come up with chords and words, and they'll bring it to Woody, who's our lead singer, and he'll kind of put a voice to it and pick a good key for it, and we'll kind of work around that. And we all sit around and arrange it together. The guys that write it certainly have like a, chord progression in mind and things like that, but we'll sit down together as a band and sort of work it out, all together. And that's with Steve too. That's the way we've worked it out. He'll write a song, and bring it to us, and we'll all sit down together and sort of work the arrangement out, as a group, rather than one person saying, okay, this is how it's going to be all the way through.
And what is his status? Is he sort of like a guest with the band, or is he an official member? Because he wasn't on your last album, right? You did the album before that with him.
Right. So basically we're an independent band without Steve, and then we've collaborated with him now on the Rare Bird Alert record, and with the touring for the last 3 years. He put out The Crow, I think in 2009, and his agent, was like, okay, now you need to, you should go on tour and promote this record you just made. And he was kind of like, okay, what? I don't really have a band or anything. He's like, well, or you could just hire a band. Mm-hmm. And we happened to be the only band that he knew. We had met him through his wife, who we had known for years before she was his wife. And she's like, you should come to North Carolina and meet these guys that are, a bluegrass band down here. And we met them at a party in North Carolina, and we played. And then we came to New York shortly after that and invited him to one of our shows, and he sat in with us.
Right.
And we just kind of hit it off. And so we've been touring for the last 3 years as Steve Martin and the Steve Kenny Rangers, but we also tour as just Steve Kenny Rangers, with Alan and another record with Steve down the road too. Because when we play with Steve, it's a completely different set of songs that we do with him that we do with our own show. The shows are completely different. Mm-hmm. And obviously with Steve, there's more comedy involved. It's a comedy show and a music show.
So when you say it's a comedy show, are you guys bantering with him, or it's more he's the one with the comedy? Or
we do actually banter with him. We kind of play the straight guys, and he kind of works off of us and uses us as the butt of some of the jokes, which works out really well. And he's really worked. It's really starting to work on us being able to interplay with the comedy with him, without, but obviously he leads the comedy show for sure. Leave it to the professionals. But we do interact with him, and it's really cool. That has developed as much as the music has over the last 3 years. The comedy, we're getting better at working the comedy without, making it seem like it's really, really easy to be bad at trying to be funny.
Right.
But Steve's he's a good teacher, and, he really helps us with how to deliver punchlines and things like that, and how to work it on stage.
And I guess, has that also made you approach your own shows differently? I mean, I'm sure you're not really putting comedy in, but do you feel more relaxed when you do your own shows because you've been playing with him too, or?
Well, yeah, we definitely feel more relaxed, but we also realize that we shouldn't try to be funny at all in our shows. Like, do not try to do some rehearsed, routine like we would with Steve, because it just won't. It's not the same,
Right.
Where I think we were wise enough to realize that.
But in terms of the show with Steve, I guess you still take the music seriously. I mean, it's still primarily a music show, would you say, or?
Absolutely. That's what's really unique is this. The songs are very serious.
Yeah.
Serious music. I mean, there's a few songs that are comedic, but it's very serious music, very, bluegrass music, but a very original sounding bluegrass music, because it's all original stuff that Steve writes. And, but then between the songs, there's a lot of talking, a lot of banter, a lot of comedy between the songs. So it's pretty even.
Right. And will you do any of your own songs at the show, or is you just mainly you do all the ones that his songs?
We just do his songs, and he'll leave the stage in the middle of the show and let us do a song or two of our own, But it's primarily all the songs that he wrote that we arranged together.
And
that's why it really feels like two bands.
Right. And I mean, were you surprised that a Hollywood star would do this? I mean, how is it to, you guys were already a band, now you have this major celebrity in your midst, so how's the dynamic, what's that like?
I mean, it's it actually feels so comfortable now, and it felt that way very quickly, and I think that's why Steve has enjoyed doing it so much, and why this whole collaboration has really worked because we really feel comfortable with each other, both musically and professionally, and all those things. It's a really great match, our band and Steve. He has a lot of the same work ethic that we do, as far as he really likes to rehearse and get the music really tight, and that's kind of been something with our band that we've always done because we play our own music. We really rehearse it and get it the way we want it, and are always tweaking things. And Steve's always wanting to go over songs and rework songs and come up with new songs and write new songs. And he's a really hard worker, and we kind of have that same attitude, and that's been something that's really been consistent about the group, Steve Martin and Steve K. Rangers together.
And then what has it done for your visibility to be associated with him? Does it affect your solo shows? Is it sort of helping to spread?
Put us in some of the biggest crowds that we've ever played and maybe ever will play. Some of the biggest festivals and a lot of TV exposure and things like that, and that certainly has helped us out. For our own career, our own shows, our crowds have got significantly bigger over the last few years. Yeah.
So now, do you think you're going to try your hand at acting now that you're you're a comedian?
I don't think so. No, I think we'll stick with the music.
All right. Well, thanks so much for chatting today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.